Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to Music to Your Ears, where we talk about all things music. I'm your host, Arroyo, and today we're diving into the life and legacy of the man who reinvented music, fashion, and identity. The man who showed us that art doesn't have to fit into a box, and neither do we. The one and only David Bowie. He was born with the name David Robert Jones in Brixton, South London in 1947. From the beginning, he was curious, restless, and drawn to the arts. But it wasn't until the early 70s that the world truly met Bowie, through the glitter, the glam, and the alien called Ziggy Stardust. Ziggy was known to be a stage persona, but he wasn't just that. He was a mirror reflecting society's hunger for change. At a time when gender norms were rigid, Bowie blurred every line, mixing masculinity and femininity, music and theater, the real and the fantasy. With albums like The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and The Spiders from Mars, Bowie turned rock music into a performing art. Each song feels almost like a message from another planet, yet somehow it tells us more about ourselves. After practically killing off Ziggy, Bowie could have stayed stuck in the glitter, but he didn't. Reinvention became his signature move. He was a man of many nicknames or personas. In the mid-70s, he gave us the Thin White Duke, my favorite nickname personally, a sleek, haunting figure wrapped in mystery and decadence. Then came his Berlin years, where he escaped fame and addiction to make some of his most experimental music yet. His albums like Low, Heroes, and Lodger, that are called the Berlin Trilogy, blended electronic soundscapes with raw emotion. These weren't just records, they were sound experiments that inspired generations of artists like U2 and Radiohead. Bowie wasn't just following trends, he was building new ones over and over again. I feel like if I had the power and talent to do music, I'd love to do that. Jump from genre to genre and do whatever feels new and right. Would you do that too? Or would you stick to whatever genre you're more into? The rest of his nicknames are the Picasso of Pop, the Dame, the Master of Reinvention, Aladdin Sane, Major Tom, the Starman, and another favorite of mine, the Chameleon of Rock. Bowie's influence wasn't limited to sound, he was also a visual artist, an actor, a fashion icon, and for many, a symbol of freedom. Any Zoolander fans around here should have seen his fabulous cameo in the movie. But it doesn't end there. From Labyrinth to The Man Who Fell to Earth, Bowie brought his otherworldly energy to film. And through his fashion, metallic suits, painted cheeks, mismatched eyes, he showed that identity could be fluid, performative, and endlessly creative. Even today, you can see his fingerprints in modern pop culture, in the gender-fluid aesthetics of artists like Lady Gaga, Harry Styles, and Janelle Monáe. Bowie didn't just make music, he created possibilities. If you're thinking of Freddie Mercury when I say this about Bowie, well, I can't blame you. Actually, they were friends, and what an iconic friendship that must have been. Many would believe they were rivals, but that's why they came together to bring us Under Pressure. It's said that they got into heated arguments about the style of the song, but look at the final product. I mean, it's definitely a classic. He was one of the artists who paid tribute to Freddie after his death in 1991 and performed at the Freddie Mercury Tribute Concert for AIDS Awareness in 1992. Another, I would call, innovation he did was that he was the first major recording artist to release a song only on the internet. Telling Lies was an internet-only download in September 1996, and over 300,000 people downloaded the track, which was significant at a time when the internet was not yet mainstream. After its online debut, the song was, of course, also included in Bowie's 1997 album Earthling. He continued his online innovation by releasing the album Hours exclusively as a digital download through his BowieNet service before its physical release in 1999. And also streamed a concert live over the internet in 1997. I mean, talk about being able to adapt. I think what makes David Bowie an idol is that he gave permission to be different, to be strange, to be unapologetically yourself, to stop looking for people's approval. From someone who struggles with that, I find his career very inspiring. And yes, it's true that we have seen many artists go through that and show us that we can be ourselves, but David Bowie was one of the first ones who was truly himself. In 2016, just 2 days after releasing his final album, Black Star, David Bowie passed away from cancer, a secret battle he'd kept from the world. That album wasn't just a goodbye, it was his final masterpiece, a poetic reflection on mortality, art, and transformation. Even in death, Bowie turned life into a performance. David Bowie reminded us that art isn't just an expression, it's about evolution. He showed us that identity is fluid, that reinvention is power, and that sometimes, to truly find yourself, you have to become someone else. So the recommendation for this week has to be to listen to David Bowie. My favorite song has to be Starman, which you probably will recognize if you listen to it, and maybe Modern Love. I don't know, I think I really like that one. I'm Ale Arroyo, and this was Music to Your Ears. Thanks for listening, and remember, we can all be heroes just for one day. Picture me winking. See you next week!